Our gracious Heavenly Father, let us thank you for this sunshine, following the rain, that everything can grow beautiful, and just like the Easter story. Bless each and every one of us that's here today, and give each and every one grace, traveling grace as they leave today and as they travel to Red Clay. Protect our people, bless our people, protect the soldiers overseas. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Thank you. Shelley, did the roll call, please.
Harley Buzzard.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
Bill Anglin.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Julia Coates. Bradley Cobb. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Meredith Fraley. Here. Janelle Fulbright. Tom Garvin. China Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Sarah Callan Watts. We have a quorum.
We have a quorum. I want to thank all of our committee members that showed us up here at 9 o'clock. We're just running a bit late, but I'm sure we'll get through with this. Thank the staff for coming in and giving their reports this morning. So I want to move on with the agenda. We already had the approval of the minutes from March the 16th special and March 17th regular. Been made a motion and second. All approved say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. I'm going to go ahead and get right into reports. See, Norm is first on the agenda. Jerry, you going to do Norm's report?
I was here at 8 o'clock to make sure I wasn't late. Norma was out of town for the holidays and hadn't made it back in yet. And I believe you have her monthly report, and I'm more than happy to attempt to answer any questions you might have about that report. And if I can't, I promise you I'll get you an answer for it.
Jerry, I did send one over to Norman. I'd ask who the contractor was on that donated item, Jay.
Okay. That renovation project up there, we're actually kind of serving as a general contractor ourselves because we feel like it's going to be cheaper to do that. And we're actually going to end up with about 3 or 4 different contracts. Like right now, we've hired a company by the name of Lindan Construction. I believe it's out of Stillwell. They're going to be doing the drop ceilings. We had 8 bidders on the drop ceiling, and they were definitely the lowest bidder. They are a Terrell approved vendor. We had the contract, or we have the bid out through contracts for the painting. They're going to repaint the whole interior of the building, at least the food distribution end of it. And then we'll have another contract for the flooring, Now we do have, there's a Prairie Breeze, I think is the name of that construction company up around Grove or somewhere. And we have a general maintenance contract with them, simply because it's so difficult to get our facilities. There's so many things that they do here. We have just basically a PO with that company to come in, and like they came in and replaced the door last week and repaired our.
Are they Terrell?
They're Terrell certified also. Yes, they are.
Well, I think, and you may not have been following the committee meetings so much, but I think this committee and the whole council is really wanting to see our Terrell people go to work, and I appreciate the fact that you've got all Terrell vendors. The other thing that I like what you're doing is you're acting as a general. If you're capable of doing that, I think that's fine.
Well,
you know what you want. You know, you're there and oversee the project, so I think that's a good deal.
And we had to do it in phases, and so we decided to just go ahead and attempt to do it that way, and hopefully save some money in the long run.
Well, and I understand, you know,
because they're just going to go out and sub it out anyway.
Exactly.
Right.
And you could probably get it done faster.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah, Mr. Baker.
where are we on, like, air conditioners, and do we have money to purchase stoves in the off-season so that we've got them ready for next fall?
Yes, we do. You know, we had the good fortune of getting those supplemental dollars through DHHS, and we haven't had to use the money that the tribe appropriated for our LIHEAP program. And I don't know, I believe there's like $200,000 in that budget.
Are we looking at buying some air conditioners so we'll have plenty, and then stoves while they're cheap,
and we could possibly even be able to use that money for a summer crisis program also, cooling assistance. But yes, we will. We will be. We have several air conditioners right now, and but we'll be purchasing more.
Okay.
We sure will.
Councilor Jordan.
Jerry, are we providing some food out at the Wisdom Keepers building?
Yes, we do. We have a nutrition program, senior nutrition program there at Wisdom Keepers.
Is there, I've gotten a couple of concerns related to me. You probably know what I'm talking about.
Yes, we're in the process of trying to get cook hired there. And trying to get a cook hired. And so we've had to provide them with frozen meals and these ready-to-eat meals, simply because we didn't have anyone to cook their meals for them.
You think, though, that's probably going to be corrected here in the near future?
I'm sure hoping so. It kind of depends on HR, how quick we can get, you know, our panels out of HR for that. But yes, they, I know, I think they have even had a complaint or two lodged. We did deliver some food items that had a couple. They're a food tray that can feed a family. I think it's either 3 or 6 meals in a box. And it's just a multitude of different food items. Canned goods, and one of those food items was outdated. So now we're having to go through all of those packets to make sure that none of the food meal or food boxes that we put out have outdated. And that was the complaint, I know, that got back to David, was that we had issued a food box that had outdated.
So we are in the process of correcting that problem.
We hope to have it corrected real quick, because we've had several. Like I say, there's been individuals from Wisdom Keepers that have expressed concern, from council members, I guess, to the chief, on up and down the line, and we're working as quick as we can to try to get that resolved.
All right.
We'll keep you informed.
Okay. I appreciate it.
All right.
Okay, any more questions for Jerry? Thank you, Jerry. Next we have Community Services with Charlie Self. Charlie? Good morning.
Good morning, everybody.
Charlie, I know you gave us a report, and we got a supplemental report, and I'd like the people just to go over and take a look at it. And I want to tell you, I really appreciate you getting this for us. It's got some really good information in it, and I just think that this information like this is really good for the committee to hear, and also the council people that's not here to hear it, because you've got a lot of good things going on in your department. And I don't think you're well, I shouldn't say bragging. I don't think you're getting the word out of what all the good things you're doing. And so this is getting the word out. I just looked at the graph for the water line stuff. That is really good information, because it not only tells the council members where you're working, because they got constituent taxes, so they know exactly where it is. So this is really good. And some of the other things that I'd asked you to bring forward, you did, which I appreciate it. That's some good work.
I think there was a requirement that we had so many pages that we were to submit when we first started. That's why we were complying to council or administration's policy
I said.
request, whatever you want to call it.
Well, I just think the more transparency we got with the organization and what we're doing, like this, I just find it works better. You don't have all the questions to say, why are you doing this or why you're not doing that. So, and I realize, you do have policies that you have to follow. This is good. The only question I've got, Charlie, is on the first page of this here, on the District 5, building community bunkhouses in Delaware County. Then we got the same thing over in District 6, Mays County. Is that two different?
Actually, the District 5 is Red Clay, and that's in J, just right outside of J area, and that's sort of got a wrong information on there. Actually, it's more like a small community building. It's like a cultural center, activity, language, culture, those types of things. But it was listed on as a community bunkhouse. It's not, but it's as far as the one at ceremonial grounds, that is more of a building to be able to house people if they come in, like volunteer groups coming in. There's really no places for them to bunk, maybe a bull hall and things like that. But that's some of the gatherings that the community people may have in case they have gatherings, ceremonial events, those kinds of things, or even for community people want to use it, something to that effect. That's what that's going to be for.
Good. Those are good projects. The other thing is on the community gardens. I was just interested in that to see where we're doing, because those are actually really good projects. If you just think about what you're doing out there, I just want to make sure other committee members knew that there are services available for them up there, so we can get it going nationwide. Those are really excellent projects that you've got going. So I just wanted to see where the big concentration was right now, but we need to, get the word out to the other people in the other communities to get those things taken care of. So those are good reports. Ms. Watts, did you have a question?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. And remind me, I know you probably told us, but how do our folks apply for those community gardens?
Actually, they go through our Willard Masters program or come through the community center. And so we can give an application. They do have to fill out an application. It's just a small form. And so Willard Masters running the program.
Is there any more questions for Charlie? Charlie, anything you want to tell us that maybe you didn't put down on the report? Any good news or bad news? You don't want no bad news.
I don't have any bad news.
All right.
It's all good. Spring's here, a beautiful time of the year. Well, I love it here.
Any questions over the water line? Mr. Joe Crittenden.
I just got a comment. I just print out, it's obvious that the good people over in Adair County are got their sleeves rolled up and making gardens and building community buildings, and I appreciate it. Thank you, Charlie.
Good comment. Mr. Stanton.
Charlie, when was Leach water lines already started?
The water lines have already started. Leach water line, it's still in the works.
Still in the works.
Yes, we've got some work to do. Probably before the actual construction starts, it may be when, Billy, do you know?
Hopefully this fall.
Yeah, hopefully.
Fall?
Yeah, that's the 60-mile water line that we're going to be working on. Funding available, we can get it done.
And do we know where we're going to get the water from yet, Charlie? Have we
At
made
this
that decision?
point, we're strongly working with the Flint Ridge.
That's right, yeah. Any more questions for Charlie? Thanks. Good report, Charlie. Mr. David Sutherland.
Passed out a little schedule. It's new income limits for Nahaza. Effect on April 1st. And under Nahaza, we can serve up to families whose incomes are up to 80% of the national median. And then in some of our programs, we even put priority on that. And like the rehab right now, the first priority is elderly, handicapped, disabled whose incomes are 50% and below. Anyway, I wanted you all to have those, and just in case somebody come to your attention and they had an income question, so you got that information. On my report, I added something this month, the foreclosures on MAP and Title VI, and we had one on rehab. I just took the ones that was on report to Commerce, prepares each month. I picked out what was happening in this physical year and put on there. I'm not sure what you all wanted to see, and I thought I'd ask to get your comments, what you'd like to see on, as far as what's being reported on foreclosure.
On foreclosures, David, have we got a policy on which one we're going to go try to acquire, or we're just going to acquire what we think is?
You're talking about the foreclosed money that's in the budget. I think it probably was part of the mod last night.
Right.
I've got some criteria or some real loose guidelines. But what we're basically going to do is we've got one thing we've got to do to these before we buy them, and that's we've got to have an environmental review on them. We've got to also, if we can, look at it. I mean, you know, it may look great on the outside, but if we can't get in to look at the inside, don't know. But we're going to look at the maps, the ones that are we get notice on. We're also going to look in the newspapers, but we're also, real estate has access to the multi-listing, and we hope to do the majority of them off of that. Ones that have been foreclosed already, and maybe the banks already are holding the paper on. We'd like to concentrate on those. Anything we can get in and look at and get a good estimate of what it's really going to cost, those are ones we'd really like to get. But we are going to look at everything, including maps.
That's right.
Yeah, David, I'm not going to mention any names here, but we've got one foreclosure on our list that apparently our interest rate was pretty high, you know, yada, yada, yada. And it was actually, we got the mortgage by virtue of a rehab. That's why the interest rate was pretty high. Mm-hmm. But I guess through the stimulus, the finance company has come back to this lady and says, hey, if you'll pay $1,600, we'll lower your interest rate to 4.25%, and you can stay in this house and cut her payment in half. Mm-hmm. Have you heard deals like this? And she can come up with $800, but she can't come up with $1,600. I mean, it might behoove us to look at that, where, you know, if we invest $800 more, it's going to keep it from going into foreclosure and us losing our $35,000.
To be honest, I haven't heard of any those types of things, but we'd love to look at that. I mean, Commerce, those folks try to help. I mean, they've taken calls from folks that have nothing to do with MAP or Title VI. Yeah. Getting calls all the time on what can we do, and they're real good about giving the advice that the folks need. Yeah. But yeah, refer them, send them to me. I'll make sure Anna or whoever needs to talk with them gets the call. And several times I've gotten calls from different folks, different areas where they're about to do this, or about to lose this, or they're about to do that. And we at least give them counseling if we can't give them anything else.
Yeah. Okay.
Ms. Jordan.
Does Anna Knight report to this committee? I see her back there in the back. Or can I have her come forward with David?
She's part of the housing, as far as mortgage assistance stuff.
What I want to ask about is the policy on the mortgage assistance program. I've had a constituent come to me, and what they can get because of their credit is a 20-year, 5-year adjustable mortgage from a local bank. I tried to help them get through the mortgage assistance program, and I'm being told that your policy is that you will only give mortgage assistance to basically fixed rate mortgages that are along the terms of 30 years. Is that correct?
The term doesn't matter so much as the fixed rate.
And we can't get local banks to do a fixed rate. They want to do at most a 3-year adjustable or a 5-year adjustable. Is there any, and I'm not, let me just ask you this question. The policy can be written any way the tribe wants to write it. Is that correct? So if this body deemed it appropriate for us to go back to the terms that the Housing Authority used to have on the mortgage assistance program, which is they looked at each mortgage, to see whether it was advantageous for the client or not, given their ability to obtain money. Would you have any problem with that?
The reason why we stick with the fixed rate is a lot of the mortgage problems that are out there today are caused by adjustable rate mortgages. Because when the rates go up, their house payments go up.
But here's the situation. If they had paid, let's say they had a good track record of paying for 5 years, then they can get, at that point, at the end of that 5 years, they could go out on the secondary market and probably obtain a 30-year fixed rate mortgage. But if they're a young person, first-time home buyer, which is one of your requirements, essentially no credit, it's hard to go out on the secondary market and obtain that fixed rate mortgage first time out. And I think that we need to provide some flexibility within our program so that they can still go ahead and take advantage of the $15,000. Now, in this particular case, it was a $90,000 house that was being sold to the young man for $60,000. So he instantly was going to have $30,000 in equity. It was also a family transaction, so there was no way his parents was ever going to let him lose that house. But because of his credit, and he can only obtain a 20-year, 5-year adjustable mortgage from a local bank, he could not tap into the mortgage assistance program. And I just think that we need to work with those individuals and still be able to give them the advantage of getting into that mortgage assistance program, which would have brought his loan down to around $40,000 on a $90,000 house, basically, or $45,000 on a $90,000 house. And I think what we've done is we've made our policy in such a way that we now have a little checklist with no flexibility. If all the checks are not marked on the left-hand side of the page, you don't get the mortgage assistance. I think that given the fact that we're dealing with first-time home buyers, high-risk home buyers, that we need to look at each loan on its own merit to see if it will help that individual. And I would suggest to this committee that we need to, maybe possibly even for next month, and I would ask that it would be put on this committee agenda, that we need to review those policies and possibly make those amendments so that we can get more people into our home and get more of this money out into the community. Because right now, our people need it more than they've ever needed it before because of this economy. And I would ask you, Anna, to work with us on making that happen.
The other thing to remember, too, is that we have programs set up to try to help people improve their credit. And so there's a lot of people that may come to us that can't get a fixed rate secondary market loan right now, but if they work with us, we can help them get to that point in the future. Fixed rate is just, it's extremely important that they get a fixed rate loan. It just really is.
I noticed, Anna, last month in one of the reports, I believe your goal is to reach 350 families with mortgage assistance this year. I think towards the end of 6 months of this fiscal year, you have given out 70 mortgage assistance loans. That is coming from a program that the Housing Authority used to maintain where they were doing 350 loans. And I've been watching the foreclosure rate. Our foreclosure rate is less than a traditional bank. That's why I asked for all the figures on the foreclosure rate, was to see if actually we were higher, lower, or just about where a bank is. We're actually lower in the mortgage foreclosure field than what a traditional bank is. I think we have the money, and I believe we have the ability, and I certainly think that we can teach our counselors to recognize those advantageous mortgages for our people, and we need to get that money out there. And I guess what I'm putting forth is I would like for it to be an agenda item next month, and I'm going to ask that we make some changes to the mortgage assistance policy to get that money out there. because our people need it to get into some of these houses.
And I would say that there may be some confusion on our report because we are actually 6 months into the fiscal year and we've given out half. We have budgeted 233 math assistants.
And you close those loans.
Yes, and
Your
we're on
reports are not
target.
reflecting
But
those
what
numbers.
that 70 is, should be people that have gone through self-sufficiency or received some type of counseling, and we monitor that to monitor our effectiveness. So I need to look at the report.
Yeah, you need
We
to,
may
you
need to
need to
clear it
update
up.
your reporting information, because that's not what I'm seeing in your report.
Yeah, I'll make sure that our report's clear, but we are on target to give, to disperse all of the MAP funds that we have available for the.
I would
for
like to
clients.
work with you on these policy changes, and I have asked Todd Hembry to write up legislation to make some corrections in our policy. We totally are responsible for those policies. This is not something that is dictated by the federal government. Once this money is given to us, we are totally responsible for making those policies. So if you wanted to adjust the 15,000 to 25,000, this body can do it. If we want to adjust it to make it more flexible, this body can do it. And I think that we're not taking care of our duty by not looking at those policies and keeping those in time with what the needs of our communities are.
What I would suggest that we do then is let Anna prepare some stuff back. And the committee your report code is on the, what committee do you do your report in?
Executive Finance.
Executive Finance. But I'd also, and I don't know if you have time to come over this afternoon, we're going to have a work group, and we might discuss this a little bit further in our work group meeting, just to get some ideas out there to see what we can and cannot do, or some things we may want to do. So I'd invite you to come over if you can. If you can't, then, we can do some other things.
Yeah, no, we can certainly try. I would also point out that our mortgages on MAP are, they're a little over 4%. Statewide, it's a little over 2%. So we are a little bit higher on those, and I handed out, and maybe I can get you guys another copy. And this is actually delinquencies per county. And I would just point out that out of the 5 highest counties with delinquency rates in the state, Adair County is the first at 6.3%. Mays County is the 4th at 4.2%, and Cherokee is the 5th at 5%. So our delinquencies in our mortgage markets are very high, and a lot of them have to do with the adjustable rate loans being reset.
4%, though, Anna, is very acceptable in the banking field as far as mortgage foreclosures, and it's especially acceptable in the banking field in the current economy that we're in. I'm just saying, folks, that we need to show some flexibility for our people. I think that Anna's done a very good job in being prudent in giving our money out, but we're going to have to take some chances to house some of our people at this point, because the economy is fixing to go bad here, and that it's going to become even more important. We're going to have even more people coming to us for safe, sanitary, and necessary housing, and we're going to have to show some flexibility on these rules, or we're going to have people out on the street. And I'm just saying, this is the time we need to look at that policy. She's been very prudent, and she can't make changes unless we assist her. And I think it's time now for us to start looking at those policies.
Okay, well, thank you, Ms. Jordan. And Anna, if you would take a look at that and maybe come back with a report. That's some stats on what's been happening here. And you did some today, so we'd like to take a look at those.
I think
What time is your meeting this afternoon?
Isn't that right? 12 o'clock?
What times we're working? 12? It's right after.
It's right after Rule 7, so it's going to be right around noon.
Councilor Watts.
Thank you. I mean, I'm willing to listen and see if there's some reason, but I'm quite concerned that we're not sticking to our guns on the program that's being implemented. I guess the whole point of MAP and everything else was for us to long-term invest in our folks and to make sure that they were viable beyond our program for all sorts of things, for future house loans, for car loans, all the other things. And I thought we committed to those people, and that if maybe we need to, because the market, need to adjust our Indian housing plan for temporary housing, but to put them in a home where we create more problems for the national housing crisis, or more problems for our constituents especially, I think that's problematic. In my district, where things are higher than the other communities, we know land prices and homes, I've watched single moms with kids that are, especially burdened financially and how typically lower salaries, blah, blah, blah. I mean, we can describe that to the nth degree, but they have responded so well to the mortgage assistance program, and we have fundamentally changed their lives because we invested in them. We taught them how to repair their credit, and it was not just a home. It was really building equity that would exchange between generations and break the cycle of poverty. And I think for us to breach that agreement with our community and how we looked at changing our housing policy would be wrong. There's so far on face value, there's nothing that would compel me to do that differently, especially given the shenanigans that got us nationally into the mortgage crisis that we're in today. So, thank you for all your work. My real question, though, was who is actually heading the housing office at Claremore? How's that structured now?
The office itself?
Yeah, like we used to call Mr. Kessler, so.
There's, trying to think who all's up there. Anna's got, 2, 3? 4? I've got, I should know, either got 3 or 4 folks with housing, some doing applications, some doing the home ownership. That's all that's there. No, rehab. It's got a lady up there, Camille. At some point, the Northeast Technology folks, they're going to be moving out of that other section. There's some discussion maybe of bringing some programs, other programs in there. Now, Anna's got folks up there, I got folks up there. My people here in Tahlequah actually kind of manage the building itself. But that's kind of how it's set up. Just really a branch office right now with just the program people there.
Okay, fair enough. Thank you so much. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Dr. Carr.
I wanted to echo some of the comments from my colleague from Rogers County. I agree with Councilor Jordan. I'm never against going back and looking at some policies, and I do think it's a good thing to review some of those as a council. But if you look at at the banking industry, one of the reasons that some of the strongest banks are in this part of the country, and especially one of them in Oklahoma, if you look at the latest banking, where banks stand solvency-wise in the United States, is we didn't fall into the ARM and the subprime business. And I want to make sure, as we're reviewing these policies, that we don't put commerce and housing in a situation where they're playing in that same arena that got us in this mess. I don't want to force them into a situation where they have to participate in that arena, because that's kind of where we got, as a nation, we got in this mess in the first place. I'm not opposed to going back through policies, but I want to be really careful that we're investing in people's future and not just trying to get them in a house. I want to look at the long term, because that's really what happened in the United States, is that it became, let's get them in the house, and what happens 15 years down the road be damned. And I want to make sure we don't fall into that. But I do, I'm never against looking at the policies and kind of reviewing those. I think that's probably a good thing for this body. But I do think that we have been insulated in this part of the country, probably some ways, at least in my district, because of oil and natural gas. And I do think that some of that's going to probably catch up with us. So we do need to probably look at that. But I just want to be really careful that we don't force commerce and housing into a situation where they're playing in that arena. So thank you.
Okay, I'm going to recognize Councilor Jordan for the rebuttal on this here, but I want to cut it really short, Tina. because I think you just mentioned a while ago that you were drafting some legislation with Mr. Henry, and I would like to put that over into the Executive and Finance Committee, so if you want to bring it forward to that committee, we can hear it then, but I want to give you a little bit of
It might
time.
be more appropriate, though, that it be looked at in your housing work group first.
Well, I certainly wouldn't object to having her come and
If
talk
that
to us.
would be amenable with the rest of the committee, and Brad and Kara's comments are very well taken. One of the reasons that we have the most solid banking industry in the country right now is none of the local banks in the state of Oklahoma will make a fixed rate mortgage.
That they keep in-house, but they all sell to the secondary market. And
Only
that's
if
where
the credit is good.
That's correct. They
And
have to be
sometimes
good.
you can't repair the credit enough to get it out on the secondary market.
You
So I-
usually can within 2 years.
I'm going to cut the discussion off on this in here. Ty, if you would, go ahead and do the legislation, and
I'll
the
bring
man
it
can
to
come
the
over.
housing group first.
We could do it, and we're grouping. I'd rather have her to do it in her committee. Not that she's not welcome in Community Services Committee, but I need to carry on business here. David, I forgot where we were with your report.
I think I was done. I know what it was. I was asking what y'all would like to see reported as far as on the foreclosed. And the report they did was very, it was comprehensive, had a lot of information, and I just kind of gleaned out of that what's current for this fiscal year. But if you all want to think about that and then let me know what it is you'd like to see on the report, I'd be happy to put it in.
We've made some changes to it, and it really, the reporting fits me fairly well because it's easy for me to understand, but certainly the committee, if they have some suggestions, I'd like you to let David know to make it more clarified, or if we want more information. I think you do a good job of providing that, because what it does is tell us where you are from the beginning of this fiscal year, how many people you've served and stuff like that, so we can track that. If I think of any, David, or if anybody else, then certainly feel free to email David through me. I'd like to see it before it goes to David, so we can do that. Anything else, David, that you've got? Any more questions for David? Yeah, Ms. Jordan.
Would it behoove David to contact those people that are losing their foreclosed houses and see if we have the capability, such as this one that Mr. Baker just mentioned, before it goes through a final foreclosure, maybe we could head off some of those?
That's kind of the plan, because when those foreclosure notices come, they come to me. So I'm the first one to see it. We try to make contact with them at that
Well,
point.
there could be some counseling going on to stop that foreclosure. That's a good idea. I like that idea. Okay, thank you, David. Looking at the agenda for old business, I see none. I see new business. I believe, Linda, are you here to present the resolution?
Good morning.
Good morning.
This resolution is regarding a federal grant application for the continued funding of the youth shelter operations at the John E. Ketchum Youth Services Center. The total project cost is for $70,000, and there is a 10% cash match, and we're requesting $7,000 to help us supplement the services to runaway and homeless youth. This is at the youth shelter.
I make a motion we approve it.
Second.
The motion's been approved and second. Any discussion on this resolution? Any questions? All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thank you, Linda. Moving on down to announcements. Does anybody have any announcements they'd like to bring forward at this time? Seeing none, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed, same sign. Thanks, everybody.
distant relative, Councilor Crittenden, to give the invocation, please.
So, Stan. Heavenly Father, again, we want to thank you for this beautiful day you blessed us with, for the rain, for the nurture of our grass and trees, and helping to get rid of some of the pollen and all. Father, thank you for all your many blessings. And Father, this health committee that we're meeting in this morning, health is so critical and so important in our tribe. I pray that you'll help us to do good work for our people. I pray your blessings on us as we leave this meeting to go back to our homes this evening. And Father, be with our troops overseas, those that are in harm's way. Bless our governments, federal and also our tribal governments, and help our chairman today and give us all wisdom and knowledge that we might do good work for our people. And forgive us, Father, where we fail. In Jesus' name I pray. Amen.
Amen. Next is roll call. Please acknowledge that you are here.
Bradley Cobb.
Amen.
Janelle Fulbright. Bill Englund.
Here.
Bill John Baker.
Here.
Jack Baker.
Here.
Harley Buzzer.
Here.
Julia Coates. Joe Crittenden.
Here.
Jody Fishinghawk. Meredith Fraley. Don Garvin. Hannah Glory Jordan.
Present.
Curtis Snell.
Here.
Chris Soap.
Here.
David Thornton.
Present.
Kara Callan Watts. We have a quorum.
Next on the agenda is approval of the March 17th regular session minutes. We have a first and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries. Next we have reports, and first from the Claremore Service Unit is Mr. George Valera. You are up.
Morning, everybody.
Morning.
Thank you. We just handed out my report, the written version. We started a new service, the automated telephone appointment reminder system. That went live this last month. In a couple of months, I hope to have some data to show that we've slowed down the no-shows. Our outpatient visits for October through March have increased to almost 25% over the same period last year. Revenues are down for the fiscal year, just under 2%. But on the back page there, you'll see that there's a glitch in the Oklahoma Healthcare Authority system, and they owe us $470,000, which they are working diligently to get us. Actually, they've made a small payment of that already to us. So that would put us at an increase over last year, up to this point.
That's a heck of a glitch.
Yeah. New charts, we've actually made more this month than we did last month. We made new charts and reactivated charts. We made 633. That was just for the month of March. Our contract health activities year to date, we've denied and we have unmet needs of $5.4 million. We actually submitted some chef cases in, which those are cases over $25,000. We got 6 submitted and 2 cases pending, and we have 4 others identified already. And I was going to ask if there was anything specific that you want me to cover in this report. It's, kind of brief and to the point. Hits highlights. If you would, just let me know, and I'll be glad to include that.
We have a question from Councilor John Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. After you've had a chance now to review the budget and stuff, have you adjusted the proposed or planned budget for revenues and expenditures for the hospital?
Actually, right now we're pretty much living month to month. One of our problems with our getting our UFMS, our financial management system, the software that we're mandated to use, is that we can't go in and put enough money in it so we can get our contracts paid up a year ahead of time. So we're living off our collections as fast as we can get them in. So there's not a lot of wiggle room in there for adjustments right now.
Do we know anything on the stimulus package about the roof?
Nope, haven't heard anything. And that's one of the reasons we were joking about it out here in the hall. We have a couple of projects in mind. I want to remodel the emergency room and get it turned around the way it should be. Right now, if you've been there, our emergency room's backwards. You check in with emergency in the middle of the building after you walk past the ER. But we're kind of a holding pattern on any of our projects, hoping that we get or waiting to see if we get any stimulus funding. I don't want to commit any funding to a project and then turn around and lose stimulus money because we've already started that. So we're just kind of in a holding pattern on those projects. But no, I haven't heard anything at all.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you.
Councilman Bowser.
George, I don't know if you've been briefed on from ODOT about the transportation issues surrounding Claremore Hospital. That's where they're going to be putting that bypass in. I don't think it's going to affect any of our properties there, but I'm just wanting to make sure that you're aware of what is in the planning stages there. What if it's going to impact the safety of patients getting in and out? I don't think it will, but I haven't attended the meeting for the last 2 years. Councilor Watt is aware of that, so I just want to make sure you're aware of it so you can keep abreast of what's going on.
I knew they were talking about just west of the hospital.
Yes.
Coming along there, and that shouldn't change any of the accesses because most of the access is from east and south from town.
And when it started, they did propose, and I don't know the name of the street running right next to the hospital, but I think that's been changed to where it actually goes around the hospital completely. I just want to make you aware of it, make sure that
I'll make a note, and I haven't read or asked about that since I've been there, but I'll do that.
And it's been on the drawing board for the last, I think, 4 years to do that bypass there. Okay. I haven't been involved with the planning on it anymore. Thank you, Chair.
Councilor Callan, watch your opening.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Yes, there should be notes. We had multiple meetings on site at the Indian Hospital with our roads folks, CEO Cousins, and ODOT folks and such. And we did stop them from going through Monroe because we just built all those homes and stuff, and we know there's a lot of elderly that's across that street. So it should be routed around Highway 20, and nobody's told me differently. So, thank you, Mr. Chair.
Any more questions? Thank you.
Thank you.
Next, Cherokee Nation Health Services, Melissa Gower.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I submitted my report, so hopefully you all have copies of that and have read that. Just a couple things. One is just an update on Cherokee Elder Care. As of this morning, they have 23 enrolled participants. They anticipate adding 2 more participants on May 1st and then an additional 2 on June 1st. Which would bring them up to 27. So they're doing very well. They're staying within their budget. And they're expecting their first outside audit since beginning operation. Later this month, CMS and the state will perform a technical audit, which is normally done after 6 months of operation or 20 participants, whichever occurs first. And that audit would give them direct feedback on where they are in their operational growth and provide direction on areas that need improvement. At Hastings, we have 3 new ultrasound machines that are in use there now, 1 in the OB department and 2 in radiology. We have the mammography machine is in. They're just waiting to get that set up. We're excited. It'll be the first time that Hastings Hospital has ever had mammography as a direct service. Probably everyone in this room has had either some direct connection with someone in your family or a friend that you know that's been affected by breast cancer and how important mammography services are. So we're pleased that we have a mammography machine in and are getting it hooked up. We have received our Medicare Part A contract. We got it last week. We will begin billing within 7 days. It takes them 7 days to get the vendor and all that set up. So sometime this week we'll start releasing those claims, and we should see a big difference at the end of this month. Hastings Hospital, we did our very first bariatric surgery this month. Did 2 of them. Went very well. The patients have been followed up, and everything's going great. So that HELP program is going wonderfully. Matter of fact, the HELP program has gone so well that we've had numerous people that have gone through the program, and after they've actually gone through the program, either they have made behavioral lifestyle changes and have decided that they don't need the surgery because they're doing it on their own, which is wonderful, or they've decided that they just don't want the surgery because we've been so successful in the counseling process and preparing them for that they just are doing a great job. We also have had some that has lost so much weight that they don't qualify for the surgery anymore. So it's the whole program is being very successful, and we're very excited about finally having our first 2 candidates in our surgery. So it went very well. We're finalizing, and Councilman Hoskins isn't here, but we're finalizing our Veneta program of requirements and program justification document this week. We met yesterday and met last week in Oklahoma City, and yesterday we went through and made some changes, and Dr. Grimm's writing up a lot of justifications, and one of those was, as you know, IHS doesn't have mammography as a direct service. I have to say it one more time. And so we're writing a justification to ensure that we get a mammography machine at Veneta Clinic also. So we're finalizing that, and that'll be in by tomorrow. And so we're moving down the road on Veneta. The Senate Committee on Indian Affairs had a staff person that came out and met with health Thursday night and Friday morning. And that was a very good visit, and we toured 3 of our facilities, went to Stillwell Clinic, went to Muskogee Clinic and Hastings Hospital, and had a nice briefing with them. So I think that's all the oral report that I have today. So if anybody has any questions, I'll try to answer those.
Councilor Jordan.
Melissa, our PACE program is currently got 23 participants, and we're going to, I think you just said we'd enroll 2 more probably by May 1st, 2 more by June 1st.
Right.
Are we still on track so that by the end of this fiscal year they won't have a need to come to us for the $750,000?
We are still on track,
run
yes.
the operation. Okay.
Yes. We're currently within our budget expenditures and still on track.
Okay, so I think you mentioned one time 45 was our break even. We think we'll have that many in the program by this.
Well, the plan laid out that you'd have to add so many per month, and I don't remember what the number is, but we are on that. We are within our plan.
Okay, and they understand that once they reach that goal, that break even, that our money will cease.
Yes.
Okay.
They do.
And I think there's probably a mortgage on the building. Is that correct?
They pay it.
So they will. They're not paying that back currently. Are they paying that on a monthly basis?
I think so. Yeah.
So that will continue after. But the 2 times that we have subsidized them, those were grants, basically.
That's
from
right.
us.
That's right.
Okay. And then the other question I have is on the dental program. Do you have an estimate, or could you maybe get an estimate for us of how many dentures we're providing during a year's time? I would like to get with you possibly and look at the requirements on the denture program, if you might be available sometime.
Okay. Sure. Just let me know.
And maybe could you email us those numbers? Is that currently, is the denture program currently coming out of the same program that we established for the artificial limbs and the hearing aids and the
Eyeglasses and dentures.
How is the funding in that part now? Are we still in pretty good shape?
We just are moving some over there. You know, I think what we got was intended at least for 6 months until the audit was finalized. And so now that the audit is finalized, I think we've sent through a budget mod to move some from our carryover over to it.
So
to replenish it.
If some of the clinics have been told they're on a waiting list or something of that nature, they should see that pretty well open up.
Oh yeah, as soon as we get the budget mod approved, yeah.
Thank you.
Councilor Snell.
List on the contract health. Get a lot of calls down in my neck of the woods. Is our participants there? Are we in the wrong area? Right. Okay. The lady was taken from Twin Oaks to Silent Springs Hospital. And the Cherokee Nation embassy took her up there, she had a heart attack. So they send contract health and she gets her denial. It says you should have went to Claremore. If you went to Claremore, she probably need Jerry's services instead of contract health, you know. But in a way, the contract health turned her down, denied her claim. The reason why was she should have went to.
Did she appeal it?
She appealed it.
Okay. Did she get denied a second time?
No, not yet. Okay. But we've had several. I mean,
well, most people automatically get denied on an emergency call-in, and the reason is because we have no information on it. And that's why they need to appeal it, because they need to submit that information.
But that request is on the denial, that she needs to submit all of her information.
But his contract's out of Claremore.
Well, I don't know. I'd have to look at the patient.
His county is out of Claremore. It's not out of ours.
Well, I'm sure it's the same thing with you all. They need to appeal it and submit their information on that.
Councilor Buzzard.
Melissa, I have a couple of questions.
Okay.
And one of them was with dentures, and I think Councilor Gloria addressed it, but our clinic in Jay, I've had calls from people that aren't able to make appointments, and they're saying they're not going to make any until June. Before they were telling them they weren't going to make any until April, but here it is April, now they're saying they're not going to do it until June. And I think I emailed you that.
You have, I just haven't gotten a response from Dr. Hackett.
Anyway, if you would check onto it and see if we can't get that rectified. If we need more dollars in it, I'm sure the committee would have to.
Well, we have submitted a budget mod. It's just not had time to go through the process, I guess.
The other thing,
but he's going to give you. We'll get you a response. He just hasn't responded yet.
Thank you. The other question I had, I was looking at third-party collections, and of course I'm from Delaware County and the clinics in Jay, and I was looking at third-party collections, and it's down. My analysis looked to me like the Jay Clinic and the Salina Clinic see about the same amount of patients.
They do?
Although the Jay Clinic is down a little over $275,000 in third-party collections. Now I thought, well, maybe people up here don't have the insurance that we have. They're not as rich as they are around Salina and Pryor. But then I got to thinking, that's not the case. We have people that work at the school, they're all insured. We have people that work at the county, they're insured. People at the courthouse, they're insured. City, Cobb Manufacturing, they're all got insurance. Simmons, they all have insurance. I'll say all, a majority of them. Then you have people that work in McKee Baking, and they certainly have insurance. Then you have the Cherokee Nation employees, you have housing, Medicaid, and Medicare, but I just don't think that we shouldn't be almost $300,000 below another person's clinic that has almost the same amount of patients. Now, I've looked at all the other clinics, and all of them are ahead of schedule from year to date, except Jay Clinic, the Guy Dugan Clinic, and Bartlesville.
That's correct.
Anyway, I just like to take a look at that and see if we're not.
We are.
Okay, so you're already on top
Oh,
of this.
yeah, we take, every time one's down, we investigate. We'll meet this afternoon on it and
Okay.
find out what the issue is. It can be a lot of things.
And I'm sure they are, but it just really caught
It
my
could just be
attention.
that we got, part of the problem, and it may not have been shown up in this, is that, we bill under Hastings' number.
Well, that was my next question.
And because
Is that part of
Hastings
it?
stuff
Yeah.
was messed up, we didn't get a lot of our payments from IHS until like February.
And
I
I thought
think
about
just in
that.
like the last 2 weeks, we're actually caught up, aren't we? So that possibly could be
And
it.
I thought of that, but then I looked at all the other 6 clinics, and they're all ahead of last year today.
But
They're
we
all-
might have got their payments. I mean,
all
I don't
ahead
know.
of it. Mhm. Well,
But we do look at it, yes.
Yeah, well, I can certainly appreciate the fact that you're going to look at it, because just want to make sure, that we're getting the money that's probably due us up there from the people that's got insurance. So that was a comment. The other thing was, last year, I think we talked about submitting a submittal to the Indian Health Service for the clinic in Jay. Do you know if that department's got that submitted yet?
Well, there's not anything to submit until there's money in the line item, and there's not money in the line item yet.
And I think when Sean Terry was here last year, he told me that he would submit that this last fall, so I don't know why he told me that.
Well, but it's because when the appropriations come out, we anticipate that there's money in there, but there was not money in there. And so as soon as there's money in there and they open up for proposals, we're going to submit.
Thank you. And one last question. I asked Jack Farm about this yesterday, because it was those door openers, those handicap door openers at Jay. I think you told me before that you put it over in their department to get those things taken care of. And still haven't got them done yet, but I just wanted to bring that to the forefront again and let the health department know that we'd still like to have those automatic door openers.
Did you say you asked him?
I asked him yesterday, and I think he said it was in his budget to get done, so apparently he's aware of it. Thank you, John.
Councilor Callan Watts.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. We're always beating you up, so I thought I'd give you some kudos.
Thank you.
I have a friend whose mother has a significant number of ailments, and she is always bragging about the PACE program and about how it has absolutely been a lifesaver, because they have to move Mom into the home with them. And so if you would extend to Ben and them, it is absolutely just all the things you promised us when we talked about adopting the program, enhancing quality of life, and I believe it's probably lengthened her life as well. And she's always glad when those doors are open, because it brings her a lot of relief. So
Thank you. It's a great program. It's a nationally known program at Cherokee Nation. Thank you.
Thank you.
I'll pass that on.
Councilor Soap.
Yeah, Melissa, you may have heard this before, but if you would just confirm for me again that the whether or not the gastric bypass and the lap band procedure are approved IHS procedures.
Approved IHS procedures.
From I guess from a contract health standpoint? Or?
No, they are not.
Okay, so neither one of those
No.
procedures are
No
IHS.
bariatric surgery is an approved procedure under contract health.
Councilor Baker from Cherokee County.
Yeah, I was going to give you kudos, but since you already got them,
Oh, come on.
PACE program, it's on track.
Yes.
One here. Then Stillwell's going to
Be next.
and then I assume we'll supplement them for a period of time.
I don't know the answer to that.
Okay. And then the other question was on third-party collections. Hastings is down $3 million.
Right.
But do you anticipate now with the
Absolutely.
to get it back up or above?
Absolutely.
And how long do you think that'll take? Let's guess.
I don't know. I mean, as far as seeing it on paper, I know that by the end of this week, we'll be able to start submitting the claims.
Okay.
And I think it'll probably take us 30 days to get all the back billing done. All those claims submitted. So it'll, to actually show up on paper, it's going to take a couple of months.
Any estimate of how much back billing you've got?
No, I don't.
Okay.
I know there was About 3 weeks ago, it was over 11,000 claims. Yeah.
You don't have a dollar.
I don't have a dollar.
Attached to that. Okay.
Councilor Baker from Adair County by way of Oklahoma City.
Yes. No, the other way around.
Oh.
Good point.
Well, I want to say good work on the third-party collections for the clinics also, because I see that it's up considerably overall. But I have a request on the report to show the total collected for the month on the third-party collections for the clinics. Could you also include the total collected year-to-date for this year, compare it to the total year-to-date last year? We have the chart by clinic, but not a total amount.
Okay.
If so, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
Thank you.
Councilor Buzzard.
Melissa, I just want to follow up on the billing that we didn't have the control number. Now, the J Clinic, they would bill through the control number out of Claremore, right?
Yes.
And
No? Yeah, we changed it. They did. The J, that's what I was thinking. That's why I looked at Gloria. I was trying to remember. But J and Salina and Nowata and Bartlesville and Veneta was under Claremore. But when we compacted Hastings, we requested CMS to move them all under Hastings.
Oh, so they actually come.
Because we're all part of a system, so they have done that now.
Okay,
So
thank you.
it was affected.
Thank you.
Councilor Baker.
Yeah, I guess I will listen to those after all. I had a little lady last night, and she was so excited. She was telling me that she had lost 28 pounds, and that her body mass had gone from 28 to 24. I mean, she just rattling off all this stuff. She'd never been an exerciser in her life, and but she doesn't live far from the gymnasium or the fitness center. And apparently she hits it every day, and she says best thing Cherokee Nation ever did. So.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
And she's 80 years old.
Oh yeah.
Never felt better in her life.
Gosh,
Yeah,
that's
yeah, 80 years
awesome. That's great. That's a great story.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Oh, Councilor Baker.
Yes. In regard to that, I had a call that a lady suggested that we work with the nutrition centers and possibly have some exercise machines placed at the nutrition centers.
We do work with some of the nutrition centers, our health educators, at some of them. It depends on the nutrition center and if they want you to do it and, if they're interested in all that. But they actually had, we were conducting some exercise classes for elders. I went to one of them one time, and they were all sitting there in the class, and they were acting like they were driving a car, and, they were moving. So we do some of that. I think we just even recently videotaped it, the classes, so they could play them in there when they wanted to exercise. So we do some stuff.
Okay, but they were actually wanting some equipment at some of the centers where it wasn't readily available anyplace else in the area. So you might keep that in mind. Thank you.
Councilor Callan Watts.
While we're on the request, my Rogers County elders want another exercise class, and they want a nutrition class. It was an absolute hit. We had whole families and elders out there. And I guess we don't have the budget right now for the nutrition class that was being offered in Bartlesville, and they have repeatedly requested in writing. So I think
We're working on it. The problem is that, we've never had we don't operate the health facilities in Rogers County, and that's where the money is. It's associated with those positions. And so we've never had a health educator funded from that area. So we're just going to have to, we're working on it, but we're going to have to figure out how we can do
community
that.
building, they open and they'll keep it clean and all that. I know there's more to it, but that place, and they've pushed all the chairs aside and made room on the floor, kept it swept. So
we never had one at No Water, and we finally got one there, and wow, they're so busy. So we're working on it.
They love Jamie, so thank you.
She's awesome.
Councilor Snell.
Melissa,
Yes, sir.
on these exercise machines, is in, like in the schools and the little community centers and stuff, did y'all install them, or what I'm trying to get at? There's a lot of them up in my area that don't work on the, like the.
No, we did not. I assume, I mean, I don't know without knowing exactly where you're talking about, but they could have gotten them from several different ways. One is that we gave out grants to schools for some fitness stuff, and the schools actually bought them and was just to maintain them and take care of them and administer them and all that. So they may have gotten them through a grant that our community health program gave out to schools for fitness stuff.
So there wouldn't be no funds to repair those? Like
The school would have gotten the grant. Yeah.
Anything else? I have a question. I'm not putting you on the spot. I'm just going to give you a scenario. If you had a Cherokee citizen lived in the jurisdiction of Cherokee Nation, had surgery in Tulsa, is there any way that the Creek Nation Contract Health would pay for that surgery?
Yeah.
Okay.
Muskogee County. Wagner, is that what's in Wagner?
How about Warner?
That's Muskogee.
It's Muskogee County.
It'd be Creek Nation.
That's what I want to know. Thanks.
Thank you.
Next, old business. We have none. And new business, employee health plan briefing. I know Amy's here. You're up.
Amy Brill, I'm the benefits manager, and we wanted to give you some information on our health plan. We have a PowerPoint here. We're going right now through our open enrollment process, so we thought this would be a good time to give you some information on it. I need to turn that on.
He's got the deals in front of him.
Oh,
Okay. I was watching it, make sure it was smoke coming out.
this slide shows the average coverage election on the national average for employees who elect coverage on a health plan is 82%, and 93% of our employees elect coverage on our health plan, which I think is really good. And we did do a survey not too long ago of those that did decline and the reasons why. And a lot of them did have coverage through their spouse at another place of employment. There weren't very many that declined based on the coverage or the cost of the plan. The Cherokee Nation plan is self-insured, and so this shows the cost of what it costs Cherokee Nation for the health plan. For single coverage, ours is a little higher than the national average per person, and family is a little lower. But Cherokee Nation does self-insure the plan. And this is a slide that takes a look at the average annual employee contribution on our plan. So employees do pay lower than the national average for both single and family coverage on the Cherokee Nation plan. This is our average employee contribution compared with the national average. For single coverage, employees pay around 8%, and for family coverage, the level's about 13% of the cost, and Cherokee Nation picks up the remainder of that cost. Our in-network office visits, if you go to a provider in the network, you're going to pay a $20 copay for a primary care physician and a specialist physician on the Cherokee Nation plan. The national average for a primary care is $19, and the national average for a specialist is a $26 copay. So we actually pay the same copay no matter whether you go to a primary or a specialist. This is our annual health plan deductible for an in-network provider. It's a single
coverage, $250, so we're a lot lower than the national average on both the single coverage and the $750 deductible for family coverage. And those were compared with PPO plans. So we're looking at comparable statistics there. Our coinsurance, the national average is 17%, and ours is 10%, and we are changing that to 15%. Now, what coinsurance is if you go, mainly it affects people that go to inpatient hospitalization, but there's other things that go to coinsurance like chiropractic care. So if you go inpatient, you're going to meet your $250 deductible, and then the plan's going to pay, previously it was 90%, you would pay 10%. That has changed as of June 1, it's going to be 15% is what the employee would pay, and Cherokee Nation would pay the remainder after you meet the deductible. And the other entities are at that same level, so that was something that was changed this year. Our co-payments for prescription drugs, we are on a formulary, and we compared those with the national average. For generics, we're the same. Employees pay a $10 copay if they go fill a generic prescription. A preferred prescription, if it's a preferred medication, employees at Cherokee Nation pay $20, and the average is $26. Non-preferred, Cherokee Nation, you pay $35, and the national average is $46. There's a specialty tier for some of the high-dollar cost medications, and that is going to be added to the plan as of June 1. There is a specialty drug tier that will be added, and it will be a $45 copay. The national average is $75. And you did get an enrollment packet at your home, and it gives a list of those medications that are considered specialty drugs. And anybody that is taking a specialty drug, Blue Cross will be contacting that person to get them transferred over and make sure everything goes smoothly. This is the health plan cost. Cherokee Nation is self-insured, and this is the total cost for claims that are paid out on employees and dependents, and also administrative costs that we pay to Blue Cross. And we do purchase reinsurance, and how that works is if we have any employee or dependent that exceeds $150,000 on a claim in a given contract year, then we get reimbursed back. And so those costs are not subtracted from these amounts, but if you want to, I can give you an idea. 2007 and 2008, our claim total costs were at 15.2. We had about $51,000 in reimbursements. That was a pretty good year. We didn't have a lot of high-dollar claims. If you look to 08 and 09, we actually had a reimbursement of about $700,000, and our claims were 18.7. Our claims are projected to go in 2009 and 2010 to $20.5 million. We did add the Housing Authority employees to our plan May 1st of 08, and then the Hastings Tribal Hires came onto our plan in October 1st of 08, so that will account for some of that increase. And that's about a 10% increase in employees that came onto our plan from the prior year, and of course dependents, I think, are about 12% increase in our dependents. Our open enrollment is currently going on right now. Began April the 7th, and it's going to end April the 21st. These are some of the changes that are being made. There is a new age limit on the vision. Currently, your dependents can stay on our medical and dental plan until age 25 if they're a full-time student. And vision was at 23, and that's been increased to 25 on May 1. So if you have a dependent that's a full-time student, they can remain on that plan. There's a new vendor on the accident policy. So if anyone has, I don't believe any of the council have an accident policy, but if you want to sign up for that product, they're going to be here again on Wednesday, or you can call our office and we can make an appointment for you. Premiums are increasing on the medical side, about 7%. That's in line with the total increase to the plan costs. And that information was included in your packet. Co-insurance change, we already talked about that. It's going from 90 to 85%. We added the specialty drug tier we talked about. And this year we're also offering you to have a premium discount if you complete the health risk assessment. So if you did complete that last year, you need to go ahead and complete it again this year so you can maintain your discount. All that information was in your packet, how to get online and do that. And if anybody needs any help, they can call us. And talking about our health risk assessment, I want to show you some statistics from the results from last year from our employees, and these were our 4 top problem categories. Physical activity, we have 68% of our employees that are at high risk. And if you're at high risk on physical activity, that increases your stress level by about 2 times the amount. And it also increases your risk for obesity by about 19 times. We've got body weight, 47% are at high risk for body weight. Nutrition, 39%, and the same with medical health. Medical health are people with serious health conditions. This is taking a look at our exercise category. We have 8% of employees that totally avoid exercise. We have 35% that do occasional, and this is on a weekly basis. We've got different types of categories from moderate, 10 to 60 minutes, 60 minutes, high intensity for 30 minutes. We've got 3% of our employees doing that. So very high intensity, 3 hours plus a week, 4%. Took a look at body weight. We've got 47% of the people that completed the health risk assessment at an obese level. We've got actually 1% that's underweight. A few overweight there. About half of our people did do the health risk assessment, so these statistics are sound. This is a distribution of our medical conditions. High blood pressure is our major problem area. Hay fever, allergies, back pain. We've got diabetes in there, of course. Depression. These are just some of the top 10 that were our problem areas. Blood pressure, we've got 29% at the pre-hypertension level, and we've got 13% are at the hypertension level. 11% don't know their blood pressure, and we've got 47% at normal. That's the end of my presentation. Anybody have any questions about anything?
Yes, go ahead.
Yes. Answer that, I'm sorry.
Amy,
Do you have any questions? Councilor Buzzer?
I think I've asked this question before, and I forgot what really the answer was, is why don't we do medical benefits with our affiliates, CNE, CNI, and maybe look at cutting the insurance, overall cost of insurance down for the employee?
Well, what we did a couple of years ago, we actually, all of our entities did get together. We have a benefits committee that we all get together. And actually it's a interest committee. They look at other things besides benefits. But we got together and we did go to bid together. And we did get a reduced cost on the insurance that year. And we're going to continue to do that. So every 3 years we're going to look at that, bid it out together. Bidding out together actually does save money if we all go with the same carrier, so we did get some rate cuts that year. And that was at May of 07. That's when we did that.
The other question, and it's a comment, you may already do it, but just showing the graphs in here and showing us could be an inspiration for, and maybe you do it, show it to all the employees that work in the Cherokee Nation. Do you ever show this to all the employees?
No, we do present.
I know you have health fairs and stuff like that, but this really has an impact when you actually put it on paper and show employees what's going on. And then, I know you're always advocating exercise and exercise and exercise, but show it this year and show it again a year from now, see if we've improved. So, I don't know, I'm concerned about my health, so I'm trying to do something. It's kind of hard, but that's its comment.
That's a good idea. Blue Cross does a presentation. That'd be good to incorporate some of these. Into that.
Any more questions? Good. Thank you. Next, we have announcements, and I don't have any. Does anybody have any announcements? Other than the next tentatively scheduled meeting is for Tuesday, May the 12th at 10 a.m. And Council Buzzer has one.
Chairman, I'd like to, and I know I'm not gonna ask the question today, but in this committee, could we have someone from HR to come over because, and I guess I've just got a question as why it takes so long to hire somebody at the Cherokee Nation. That is an ongoing problem.
Is that something specific to health, or would you?
No, it's just,
you would hire. Well, I see both of our rules people are out of the room. Well, no, there she is. Madam Speaker, we have a request to have someone from HR. One of the question from Councilor Buzzard was there's an assessment that it's taken a long time to hire people into the Cherokee Nation, and he was requesting someone from HR be present. And I asked, was that specifically a health issue? And he said, no, it's everything. Would that be better served at rules?
No, that'd be great.
We'll make sure that happens at rules.
You want that on the next rules agenda?
if we've got time, I'd like to have some.
Yes.
Thank you.
Anything else?
Adjourn.
We have a motion to adjourn. Yes. And we have a second from Councilor Garvin. All those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? We are adjourned.